The show where there are no penalties, nothing is offside, and everything is fair game. This is The Gloves Are Off.
Hello and welcome to another edition of The Gloves Are Off. I'm Moses Woldu. We got a jam-packed show, and pleased to have these two gentlemen, at least one half of them. Not you, by the way. Andrew Brethauer. I had to throw that in. You've been razzing me all week, so I had to get that on live television. But how are you, man?
The difference is, you know, my mom's coming out here this week.
Oh, yeah.
So she's going to lay
Your
some
mom's
smack.
fantastic.
She's gonna lay
I
some smack
please
on
do.
you.
Your mom is great.
Oh.
I don't know what happened to you, but your mom's great. We'd love to have her on the show. Speaking of a guy we like to have on the show, Raff Sayeed. Yeah, we're going to do Raff Sayeed, a great guest, and please razz him if you can, not just for me, but for everyone's sake in Lloydminster.
Sure.
Raff Sayeed, you are a physician. You'll try your best. I know you will. You're a physician here in Lloydminster. You've also helped out as a team doctor with the Lloydminster Bobcats, the junior A team, as well as the junior B team with the Bandits here in town. I know you've
Blazers.
Blazers, forgive me, Blazers. Nevertheless, you are a man who is well respected in this town. We're pleased to have you on our show and maybe elevate the respect factor here on Gloves.
Well, he's here. You don't have to elevate anything any further. Andrew's right here.
How much did he pay you to say that? That's the question.
That's what we like to hear. That's what we like to hear.
All right, guys. Now we're going to move into the topics. This one in a much more serious tone. And this one came to a shock to all of us here in the community. Rod Kirby passing away at the age of 48 on Friday. And it's just remarkable to see the, I guess, love and the compassion that has been brought on a lot of people within the football community. And it's really, I guess, shocking and interesting to see all the people come out, whether it be former players that have gone on to the CIS or CJFL level, coaches who've kind of moved on across the country, and really have positive things to say about this man and his impact on the community. Andrew, I want to ask you this question, more importantly. What memory stands out for you about Rod?
I think just who he was. And we've dealt with him so much, and we joke around like this, and that's how you could talk to Rod. And you could have a conversation and pick up like you just talked to him like the day before. And that's the kind of guy he was, and he was so humble and always about pushing the kids and always about putting them in a spotlight and putting them out there to give them that reach that they never got before. And he made everything available. Like, for us in the media world, you couldn't ask for a better guy than Rod to be the president of football, because everyone down from there, and we talked to so many guys in football, everyone's so available, everyone's so kindly, and I think from our perspective, I don't even go to football games because I want to cover them. I go there because of the relationships I've built with the people, and one of those is Rod, and it's a huge loss for not just football, but for the community.
And Raff, I know you're a man who's involved in the community, particularly in hockey, so you have an understanding of what it means to have an impact, to lose a guy such as a Rod who's been impactful, not just in the sporting sense, but as a community as a whole.
First of all, my condolences to his family, because it's a great loss, and to our community, because he was like Mr. Football for us for a long, long, long time. And losing somebody like that, I mean, they say everybody's replaceable, but that's theory. It's really, he filled a spot at a time when we needed somebody like that to give us a boost, and he did a great job. So the impact will be felt a few years down the road, maybe not right away, but a few years down the road, unless there's another Rod Kirby show up from somewhere else.
And that's the thing. If he's a man who's so irreplaceable, it's just a matter of trying to do their best, not being Rod, because that's a very difficult situation to be in, trying to do what he did, because he's won 2 of the last 3 Tier 1 championships in midget football, and the turnaround is so tremendous. To have a team that's competitive all year round, that says something. So that's got to hurt, and that's got to be hard to replace.
Well, and also just building up football. Like, you got to think of the last 7 years since he's been president. We've added teams, we've added a midget program, we've added multiple Pee Wee and Bantam teams. Like, Lloyd football is not just you play high school anymore. Like, you go talk to guys like when Aaron Harper, coach of the Barons, played football, that was his first year playing in high school. Now these kids are getting to high school and they've already played 7, 8, 9 seasons of football. So and that's because of Rod and the people around him. Like he and I think Vince Oreo from Holy Rosary said it best, that there's a lot of great people who do things, but you need one person to direct those people. And Rod would never take credit for it, but he was the guy that directed everybody, and he was the guy to get things done. And to have a guy like that who will allow people to do stuff, but also not take any of the credit, that's just,
And
It's eye-opening and heartwarming.
the other thing is the longevity of being a president. There's continuity for so many years. So that goes a long way in establishing any program. You know, I mean, presidents can come and go every 2 years, 3 years. You don't, that continuity that Rod showed was his passion for football.
And that's going to be tough to replace for years to come. I know they got some good men involved now. It'll be interesting to see what happens over the next few years. But like you said, Raff, I think that's the best way to kind of leave that segment. Moving on, we'll talk about the Stanley Cup playoffs. They finally awarded the cup, and it's no surprise that the Pittsburgh Penguins won. And the reason why I say it's no surprise, I should clarify. I say since January, it's been no surprise. This is a team that was out of the playoffs in December, a team that looked out of sorts. They had their goalie who was keeping them in, and all of a sudden he gets hurt. They bring in a 22-year-old kid who comes in and plays like gangbusters, phenomenally, in Matt Murray. And then you throw in the play of Phil Kessel with the HBK line, all that stuff. Is there, and the new coach, of course, there's another factor. With all that said, what was the defining moment for you that said, you know what, this is the reason why they won? Raff, we'll start with you.
I think two things come to my mind. One, of course, that Crosby started playing better, and he was coming out more than he did in the early part of the season. Secondly, I believe they figured out the defense. And as you know, San Jose gets their offense from the points and the point men, and they shut him down completely. And I think when Pittsburgh figured that out, San Jose was almost important. There's nothing they could do. Look at the last game. What was it? 2 shots in the third period or something like that? I mean, how do you shut people like Thornton and Marlowe? I mean, Marlowe was a no-show, I think, in my opinion.
Pavelski didn't even show up.
Yeah, Pavelski didn't show up. I mean, I think it was, I think Pittsburgh played the game extremely smart.
And it's the Pittsburgh model. Fire your coach mid-season, win a Stanley Cup. That's how we do it. So, and it's like I said, all playoffs, they're healthy, and that's the key.
That's right.
I hate picking Pittsburgh to win the cup. I picked them this year because they were healthy, and everyone, like Crosby, Malkin, everyone from top to bottom was healthy, and you can't play against that depth. Like when you have Phil Kessel on the third line, who would be a first liner on any other team, but because he plays for Pittsburgh, he's a third line guy.
Who led the team in points
and
in the playoffs.
In the playoffs, yes.
Like, this is Phil Kessel, or like, you know, Mr. Hot Dog Hamburger guy. Like, when that guy's leading your team, that just shows you how, like, Crosby didn't have to do it. And every playoffs, it's always, well, what can Crosby do? What, like, we had all the focus on him. He just had to show up and play his game, which may sound weak, but
look at all the guys who showed up, though. Dust and Bonino, and they went on and on and on. Every one of them was a goal scorer.
I mean, also look at Schultz, a guy who was kind of a castaway from Edmonton, who actually played an important role and as a third-line guy. So adding that depth came in as a factor. How about this, though? It's a feel-good story, yes, for the Pittsburgh Penguins. What do you do now in the sense that you have Matt Murray and Marc-Andre Fleury?
I go with Murray.
You go with Murray?
Simply because of
I would go with Murray too. He's young.
So get rid of Fleury?
Well, protect Murray. And I think there's going to be some expansion. So Fleury will find a place for sure. And he could help some young player, goalie in the next team that he's with. And I would protect Murray.
Maybe Vegas will be a nice spot for Marc-Andre Fleury. It wouldn't be bad. You got 2 cups and you're going to Vegas. A lot of bling. That seems very appropriate in that town. Okay, let's move on very quickly to another serious topic. This one, a little cringeworthy. The Euros, it's one of the biggest soccer tournaments out there outside of the World Cup. And the sad part is when you start seeing fans really taking away from the game itself. And not so much because they're celebrating or it brings people together, but the fact that you're starting to see clashes between 2 ultras or 2, I guess, groups of hooligans, if you will. And it's been a problem ongoing in soccer, and it kind of showed and reared its ugly head over the past week between England and Russia as their fans started to clash in Marseille on the weekend. And it's now prompted UEFA to come out and say enough is enough. If you don't get a handle on this, referring to the football federations, that they are going to essentially disqualify both teams. Now, that's one thing. That can be a harsh penalty. But when you start hearing the MP, a member of parliament in Russia, say, you know what, well done. They were defending the honor of the Russians by going after the English and hurting them. That seems A, disgraceful, and B, warranted of a suspension. Should they be kicked out of the UEFA tournament for saying so? Andrew?
Yeah, in a sense, yeah. Like when your politicians are saying that they encourage that behavior, well, you know that behavior is not going to stop. So I would short leash. I wouldn't maybe kick them out right away, but if you do something again, then yeah, you should be pulled out. And if you're getting told from your own government that this behavior is fine, well then I think England's not doing that. England's pleading with people to stop so they don't get kicked out, and Russia's all for it. So yeah, you have to have a short leash.
Well, I think hooliganism in any sport is disgraceful. It's a sport, we go to have fun. We don't go there to get beaten up. And I think any team that supports it, or any country that supports that kind of hooliganism, or even turns a blind eye, I think that country, that team needs to be punished. And I just heard that they have received a suspended disqualification as of this morning. Russia has, which means apparently that if such a thing happens again, they're automatically out. There's no ifs and buts, there's no need for any discussion. They're just gone. So I support that kind of, perhaps it's nice to give the players one chance, but that's enough.
And it sucks for the players because they're not the ones involved in this. They work 2 years to get to the competition, and it just takes a couple idiots to kind of ruin it.
That's why I said give the players a chance. Exactly what you said.
All right, you get the last word here. We're going to take a commercial break. When we return, we're going to have more topics, including a youngster named Brooke Henderson who's making waves in the golf world.